Yep, there we go. We are live.
We did it. We're halfway there. We're halfway
Look
there.
at us.
We just got to do the show.
Yeah, nobody should ever doubt our abilities. And let me mute that. Yep, there we go. You
All
said
right,
mute it,
cool.
and I didn't.
So here we are, time to finally talk about Fyter Fest, AEW's, well, not their first pay-per-view, but their first small. And it wasn't even a pay-per-view because it was free.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It was like a free view.
yeah, I mean, because it was probably house show size, because I guess the attendance for the building is like 5,000, which makes it seem like it's not huge. Because I think the first thing they did last year, I think that was like 10,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever. But either way, they had a show and it went pretty well. So we're gonna talk about it.
I would have to agree with that.
All right, cool. So first up, of course, there was the buy-in. I know you didn't quite catch all of it, so that's cool. But we're gonna get through that part pretty quickly because I feel like there's a decent amount to say about the rest of it, and not so much this part.
Yeah, and that seems to be a recurring thing with me, and I'll try to fix that in the future about catching the early on show part of it.
Yeah, trust me, it's definitely worth watching a large part of it. Well, 33% of it. So we'll get into that in a second. So there's three matches. First match was the Best Friends, which is Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta versus SCU, one of my personal favorites, and Private Party. Now SCU is kind of like the New Day in a sense, where it's like it's three people, and so whenever it's like a tag match, it's just kind of based on whoever they put out there,
Yeah.
So in this case, they had Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian, and the third member, I don't think he was even out there, but he did have a match later on in the night.
And was that was Daniels?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
And so there's those two, and then like Private Party, which is a newer addition to the roster. But I saw on one of the episodes of Being the Elite that they were talking about bringing in Private Party because they thought that they were a really good tag team, and they looked entertaining,
Yeah.
And so I was ready to see what they had to offer. And overall, that match, I guess the stipulation or the reason for it or whatever, had something to do with how the tag team title tournament was going to go.
Yeah.
So if you won that, I think you got to just kind of skip the first round of the tournament or something like that.
Kind of like getting a bye.
Yeah. So that was the whole thing. But let's see, and that was won by Best Friends ended up winning that. But I must say though that the Private Party duo was really entertaining. They got a pretty good energy, good vibe and all that stuff. The match also was really good. It was a really good way to kick off that event, because you had like a lot of action from all the guys. They had like the high flying spots, they had like the normal wrestling spots and all that stuff. So it had everything you would really want, honestly.
Now the SoCal Uncensored, you kind of said they're kind of like the New Day. Do they kind of bring like the kind of like I don't know, I guess the excitement or the buzz that they bring? Because you look at New Day and they bring, they got a feeling about them that you don't quite get if you're like looking at like Strowman
they just kind of got something about them that makes you want to pay attention to them.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, they definitely have that for sure. But like, if you watch a couple episodes of this, like the Being the Elite, the online YouTube show, like, I mean, they're not like the huge like focal point of it, but whenever they have their little segments, you can know more than likely you're gonna get 2 to 3 minutes of like guaranteed entertainment.
Yeah.
So they're really, really good. And then like they're also really good in the ring too. So that kind of helps back it up, you know what I mean? Because there are people who are entertaining, like as far as like maybe charisma or something like that. And then when you watch them, you're like, I could do without this, but I want to like it. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
Technically, to me, they have both sides of it. So,
so out of those 3 tag teams, which one do you feel is your favorite?
So it's easily going to be SCU. Like I don't even have to think about it. But that's because I like them that much. The other guys, though, I mean, the best friends, they're really good. You know what I mean? Private Party, I've only seen the one match out of them. I feel like I've only seen the one match out of them. I've been to a handful of like independent things over the years, so I could have seen them before, but I don't think I have. Also, one of the guys on that team, Private Party, was wrestling in a pair of Air Max 270s. So that
I saw your post about that. It kind of made me want to watch it just a little bit more.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, I wondered how that went, but I wondered how it was going to go, but it went pretty well. You know, they seemed to hold up. So there you go. I guess I'll have to work that into a review if I ever do another 270 review, which is possible.
You should make it one of your giveaway things. You know how sometimes you got those questions or whatever.
Oh,
you just have like, what did this guy wrestle in?
Maybe I should start doing that. Okay, but yeah, so that match was pretty solid, and then that was only 1/3 of the pre-show, the buy-in. That's what they call it, the pre-show.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to what was it after that? It was Allie versus Leva Bates, and Leva Bates is the librarian, and she had Peter Avalon in her corner, who is also the librarian. That whole gimmick thing that they're doing, it seemed like something that was just going to last for like an episode of their YouTube show.
Yeah, because I remember seeing them having that whole casting call for the librarian or whatever.
Right.
And I didn't think it was going to turn into like an in-ring, competitive thing.
Yeah, I assumed that at most it would be like on maybe their first big show after that. Like that person would come out to the ring at some point, or like they'd be seen backstage. Like they'd get a few minutes of airtime, and then maybe get beat up a little bit, or just be comedy like in the background.
Yeah.
Maybe
almost a manager type role. They get into it.
So I thought it'd just be that, and there were the crowd was not really into it. So and then on top of that, personal opinion, of course, the match wasn't even that great. So I've never seen her though before.
Yeah. Now I think it's Allie. Didn't she used to wrestle as Blue Pants or something like that?
Was that her?
I want to say it was, but I can't. I mean, it looked like her. I'd have to go back and watch it.
I totally forgot about Blue Pants.
Yeah. So I know she was pretty big, like independently, and then I caught her a time or two on NXT and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm trying to see real quick. I don't see anything listed on Wikipedia, which is the source of all relevant information. I don't see anything
highly accurate. That's where I got all my information for my college essays.
Yeah, I'm wondering now where. Wow, I spelled that all wrong. I was trying to see like who she is because I am a little curious. Okay, you were almost right. Leva Bates was Blue Pants. The other girl.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Didn't realize that. Okay. Well, then she was apparently she was very forgettable. And she's still forgettable. So that's I guess that's reason enough to move on. So
there we go. We got that was the highlight of their match, getting us to talk about that.
Well, good luck to her in the future. But
yeah.
Then there was a hardcore match, or a hardcore match, if you will. You'll see why I use the quotes when you watch the match. It's one of those ones I will suggest watching this one, but not going in with like high hopes for like, is it going to be like Mankind versus like who was that? Like The Rock with all the chair shots, or it's gonna be like Edge versus Cactus Jack? No, it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
But it's a hardcore match. So
Mm.
watch it sometime, and you'll be mildly entertained.
Yeah. Hopefully, I can get to watching all this tomorrow because that's finally a semi break that I'm getting. So I'll try and squeeze that in.
Yeah, it's not even that long. It's under an hour, and that's with all like the hyping up the other matches and stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I kind of figured that'd be about the length of it.
And since you've seen those, you can kind of just skip through that part because it's looking at the timelines. It's like 16 minutes, 9 minutes, and 10 minutes for like the matches. So
yeah,
and that's bell to bell with all the other crap.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabali was I don't understand why this happened. I truly don't. I guess there was some bad blood between them from some previous match. I think from the All In pay-per-view last year.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but they said it in the show. Anyways, like they had a match and it was strange, but it was like the comedy portion of the show.
Oh, okay.
When you have shows like that or promotions like this, well, even like the bigger ones, like there's always like somebody there that's somewhat there just for the entertainment. You know, like nobody was tuning in to see Disco Inferno versus Alex Wright for the masterpiece that it was going to be in the ring. You watched it.
I don't know. You got the crazy Inferno guy versus, you know, the German in a leather jacket. I mean, what's not to love? That says 5-star written all over it. Also, my roommate, I can hear my roommate pulling in right now, so he might bust in through that door right there. So if I have a minor moment of freaking out or whatever, ignore it.
No problem. But yeah, so like it was a match just there to kind of give you some entertainment, and you know the Nakazawa guy, he was pretty entertaining. There's some parts in there that like get some laughs and all that stuff. It just apparently it didn't get like high marks on reviews or anything because of what it was.
Yeah.
But with a show like this, you got to have a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. And oftentimes the comedy guys are pretty good, right? Like I don't know how much you remember about Santino from like the World Wrestling Entertainment. He was the guy that had like he did the Cobra.
Oh no! I remember that guy. That was hilarious.
Yeah,
especially with him and
he had something going on with some woman for a while.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix.
Yes.
But one of my favorite moments, it was him and Mick Foley, and they had like Mr. Sacco and whatever Santino's thing was. But yeah, no, I agree. I think every show kind of needs that because I mean it is, from the start to the end of the show, you're going to have a lot of action and intensity and everything. So it is good to, kind of get people to have a laugh every now and then.
Right. I mean, even ECW, like back when they were a new thing, they had like the Blue Meanie, the Blue World Order, which was a parody thing, which is kind of what so of SCU, when it was just the two guys, Kazarian and Daniels, and they were the Addiction and something else before that, they were a big like parody kind of team. They would come out dressed up like Legion of Doom or something like that, just once in a while, just for the heck of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, look them up sometime. They're pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Nakazawa ended up winning. The win was strange because it was like the laziest possible way to beat somebody, but it worked. So I mean, he is kind of like one of those roll-up style pins, but just like moving into it is like, wait, is it really over? Was that 3 count is gonna count, huh? Okay, fair enough. And then we moved on.
Right.
So now we're on to like the main part of it, the main card, if you will.
Yes.
And that started with Shima versus Christopher Daniels, and to my understanding, from what I recall, this match wasn't it wasn't like a hyped up thing where it was like, oh, this guy's mad at this guy or this guy's trying to like advance to the finals. It was just two people that because they wanted the Shima guy on the card because I guess he was somehow instrumental in helping the Young Bucks get momentum overseas.
Yeah.
And so now they're kind of like, okay, hey, like you got our name out over there, which kind of got their name out everywhere.
Yeah.
Now let's bring you over here and do the same for you. I don't know if he's signed with them, but it's still a pretty good match. I don't know what you thought.
Which is another thing that bringing that up. It's like it doesn't seem like everybody that's come out to wrestle is specifically signed to AEW. It seems like they are taking talent from all over the place. They're like, hey, look, we got a show going. If you want to be a part of it, let us know. And I think that's pretty good. And it's WWE and WCW and all of them, they all used to do that back in the day. But usually it'd be like, you come in 5 seconds and you're out. That's all you get. You don't even get 5 minutes of fame. You get 5 seconds. and
count.
Yeah, right. But then you got AEW. They're like, all right, cool. Especially if it's something like, hey, you helped us out, we're gonna help you out. Maybe they don't want to leave what they're doing, but they're like, hey, yeah, I'll go do this. So I think that's a good thing that they're doing. But I can also see this building into like these people that they pull in, possibly building up to an even bigger roster for them.
And that's the thing, because like I know, and I didn't quite realize it at the time because I only understood so much of how things were working on account of not all the information just being out there. But AEW did a similar thing back in I guess the late '90s, because they had, or even the mid '90s, because they would get people from it's like they get luchadors to come in, and I don't think like Psychosis and Juventud and all those guys, I don't think they were actually signed to them, especially not the guys that they got from Japan. They just had a good relationship with New Japan and AAA or whatever organization had like the luchadors that they were using.
Yeah.
In some cases, it might make a little more sense to just say, hey, we'll give you X amount of money to just do a show with us or to do a match for us, than like put them on the roster and know that you had to pay them like repeatedly, So, and then I'm guessing they probably did the same thing and had their wrestlers go off. But again, I couldn't watch so much back then because it was a matter of like getting VCR tapes and stuff, and that was not always.
Yeah, being a fan back in the day was rough. You had to tune in on Mondays.
You had to
flip back and forth between channels. Like, what am I watching now? And then hopefully you had a friend that was like into like all the other stuff and might have a copy of something else from some other place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they do that, and like they bring in Shima, but he might actually be signed with them. I'm not sure. But either way, I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him because that was a really good match for those two guys.
Especially Christopher Daniels, like that dude's like 50 something, like 50, 51, something like that.
When I was in high school, Christopher Daniels came to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and he wrestled in the fitness center there. And I remember seeing that because that was the same card where they either had the Patriot, Del Wilkes from the old WWF days, or they had the fake Undertaker. Because I saw two shows there, and I forget which one was which.
AKA the Underfaker.
Yeah. That, and I was like, so I'll see him every so often, and like, because he back then he had the I think he had just like a necklace with like that symbol on it.
Yeah.
Eventually he got it tattooed, because I guess it was probably easier than buying new necklaces whenever they broke. But, so I'll always like whenever I see him, I think about that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, it was a good match. Definitely worth checking out. And then, do you have anything else to say about that one? That match?
No, it was just a good match. I didn't really know who Shima was.
Yeah.
Then they start talking a little bit about it, but I thought they had a pretty good match. It wasn't it wasn't my favorite match of the night, but it definitely wasn't my least favorite match of the night.
Oh.
And it was good to actually see Daniels get back out there and, see that he still got it, I hadn't heard anything about him for a few years now. I didn't even know he was still wrestling.
But I mean, it's one of those things sometimes, like even for like the crowd is that pays attention to him, is like, or that is starting to, they can put him out there and like, hey, don't forget, like this guy isn't just comedy. Like he can pull this off too, like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
A little reminder, especially since a lot of the people seeing this are new fans who might recognize him from, like, isn't that the guy from TNA?
Yeah.
But as far as like not recognizing people, that's where this next match comes in, because none of them, outside of one of those girls, Yuka. So the next match was Riho versus Yuka Sakazaki versus and I may have said that all wrong, probably.
No, I speak Japanese. You said it right.
But so Yuka, I recognized from the last show because I remember not liking her, and then the other two, I remember like the bigger girl from like some sort of scuffle that happened,
and
the other girl, never seen her before. But the match itself was kind of like, your standard, like there's the big girl, like the big guy, like the powerhouse, and then there's like the two smaller people that once in a while together to fight the big person. And then the big person sometimes like overpowers both of them. And not say like, there weren't some pretty awesome parts in it. Like the part where Nyla was holding one of them, like, kind of like fall away slam, like Razor Ramon might do. She's like, them, and then like the other one jumped and she caught her too. I was like, wow, that's because that stuff like that's pretty impressive, because they catch somebody who's like jumping at you, they've got their own momentum, and you're just like they hit you like a brick wall.
And you're just going like, I'm gonna stand here and take it because I can.
No, I'm doing something. Now I'm doing it to you too. Like, all right, but you win.
Yeah.
She didn't win, but
no. I thought she was going to win if I had to choose. If I had to choose between them, the three that were in there, though, I would say Riho was probably my least favorite out of the group, and I would have assumed either Yuka or Nyla, mainly Nyla, would have won that one. But storytelling wise, I thought that was okay. And there was a couple good spots in there. Not a lot of amazing, memorable things that had happened. A few. But yeah, I really think they should have had the whole. I think Nyla should have won that one.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though.
All right, and I can see that. Now, the other thing, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention in reading deeper into things, but I know that it's come up on the surface level. If you even listen to the news, that one of the things about this particular organization is that they are going to make sure that the wins and losses actually matter. So I'm curious how they're going to do that. So I'm guessing that they've got some sort of plan in line for her if she's winning this match. But because I mean, outside of like the storyline things, it's you can always tell. Well, with certain other promotions, you can always tell like, okay, like so and so won this match, and then like they had a rematch and somebody else, the other person won that one. So now they're gonna have, it's probably gonna be a triple threat match, not triple threat, but they're gonna be the third match at like SummerSlam, and given the whole chair thing, there's probably gonna be like a hardcore match or TLC or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like that match happens, and it's like, okay, they did that, and this was the tiebreaker, and so won, and then it doesn't matter 2 weeks later because after the match, somebody else ran in and started up a brand new feud, and all that was all largely for nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's because I know back in the day with WWE, WCW, they had that power ranking thing. So, like, you would kind of know who should be involved somewhere in that main card. But now it's kind of like like you said, you got two people fighting, and then you'll be at a pay-per-view and one of them loses, but then suddenly some random person that you've not seen in the feud,
John Moxley.
Yeah, right. He comes running in. He's like, all right, it's my time, my turn at the title. I'm like, buddy, there have been like 12 other guys fighting this out. Where have you been, since then?
Give him that Kofi Kingston treatment. Just push him to the side.
Right?
I think that's on the side.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them got it.
But anyway, so like.
Oh, that is a nice shirt, though. Now they actually
take
the
Against All Odds shirt.
Yeah, I like that.
On the title, or no, it was the shirt that they were promoting with him going into the WrestleMania match. But yeah, so that I'm curious to see what they do, because I mean, she won the match. Wins matter, losses matter. Like, how this gonna affect the other two? I guess in a way that gives you more reason to watch, also, right?
Yeah. I can see them probably end up having either Yuka and Riho going after each other or turning into a tag team. Yeah. Kind of with how it ended and whatnot.
But we can come back to like the tag team talk later, but because they are supposedly building up some pretty good tag teams. But after that 3 match, it was on to Hangman Adam Page, which is one of my favorites, only because like when I started watching this type of thing, all the guys that stood out: Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy with Luchasaurus, of course, and MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, if I remember correctly. So that was a match that I expected some pretty good things from, just because of what I know about some of those guys in there. And 4-way matches can just be pretty good if they're And also, I didn't know this until the last show, but Jungle Boy is Luke Perry's son. I mean, he looks a lot like him. So I probably would have put that together at some point. I'm probably like, man, he looks like Luke Perry. But yeah. So
well, now I kind of want to pull that up for myself as well. I just want to see how close. Yeah, like how close does he look like him?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think like 90210 age or something, because
Yep, I can totally see that.
You see it, right?
Because I pulled up like a younger photo of him. Yeah.
Yeah. But so that's my first time really seeing. Well, first time really seeing a lot of Jungle Boy, because I think last time he might have been in the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
But this time he actually, had a match. And I will say, one of the things that I thought was pretty innovative on his end was the stalling cannonball that he did off the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Because at first
that was pretty amazing.
Because he started climbing and then just kind of stopped, and I was like, is something wrong? But then he pulled that out, and I was like, oh wow, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, out of the moments of that match, I would have to say that was probably my favorite moment, just because I haven't seen anything like that.
And that's the thing, when you see something new, it stands out a little more.
Yeah. And another thing that I thought it was interesting was I didn't realize it up until MJF came out, and even after, there was not a lot of mic time for anybody, which because I think he was the only one that really had a spot to do a promo during the main show,
You're right.
which I kind of enjoyed, because I was so caught up in all the matches that were going on that I didn't think nothing about a promo, and then that happened, and then it ended. After the show had ended, it's like, wow, there wasn't really a lot of promo stuff in there, which promo work is fine and all. And I think he kind of, nailed it to really let everybody know he was kind of like, what his character was going to be like. But I think it's good that you can actually go in, watch these shows, and not have to sit there for 45 minutes before you see a match. Just saying.
On the subject of talking and being good at it or not being good at it, and they're just the pre-show. the pre-show. Watch that, and we'll talk about that later. But
okay, I'm gonna say that was more talking at that.
Thoughts on like the mic time on that, because that was not enjoyable. Anyway, but yeah. So I hadn't seen Jimmy Havoc a lot either. I knew the name, I knew who he was and kind of what to expect. But I kind of like his look. He kind of reminds me of like Davey Havoc.
Yeah.
From AFI. So there's that.
Yeah, with shorter hair.
Right. And Adam Page, like he seems like one of the guys that they're building this company around. You know what I mean? And if you've seen, I know you haven't seen a whole lot of his Ring of Honor or any other previous work or whatever, but Adam Page is really good for he's like, there were some comparisons to him and Chris Jericho on the show because of they have a similar look, and the style is pretty similar. Like if you watch like Jericho's like his cruiserweight era, like early WCW or ECW stuff, it matches up with him, right? So it's looking like this could be like their next big star that nobody talks about a lot right now.
Yeah. And with Adam Page, I had never heard of Adam Page until you're doing one of your box openings for what's that, Wrestle Crate?
Yeah.
So you pulled that out. And if I recall, it was a shirt that you pulled out, and you're like, oh yeah, Hangman Adam Page, and I really like this guy. I'm like, not heard of him. And then that was shortly before the one of the last pay-per-views. And I caught on YouTube there was a match between Adam Page and whatever Neville's from WWE. Neville, he's got a new name now.
I forgot about that one. I never went back to watch it.
Yeah, so I saw that pop up, and I remember you talking about Adam Page, and I checked that out, and I thought that was a pretty good match.
Yeah.
And because that was actually supposed to happen on the pay-per-view, but it didn't. And then Adam Page came out and did his work in the ring. And I'll say, as of right now, he's probably one of my top favorite guys as well. And I kind of seen the whole resemblance of the whole Jericho thing. And I can see Adam Page possibly ending up being the heavyweight champ.
Well, I mean,
for too long, anyways.
You got a 50-50 shot, because if I remember correctly, Jericho won whatever match to be one of the people in the first title match, and then he won the other match to be like the other person in the title match. So it's going to be either Jericho or Adam Page. Yeah,
and I could also see that being Jericho as well, just because it is Jericho, and I could see like they're like, okay, we want you to come in. I could also see him being the type of guy I'm like, well, I want to be the first champ. I want that in my contract.
I mean, he did beat Stone Cold and The Rock on the same night.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's if it's written in the stars, that's written in the stars.
Right. But yeah. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that match. Jimmy Havoc, don't really know much about him. I thought Jungle Boy was entertaining. I see MJF being that annoying a-hole I don't really like, but I like.
Because you want to hate him, but you also want to listen to him.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, what are you gonna say? What kind of trash talk you got?
You remember like Bret Hart in the Attitude Era? Bad guy, but like he makes some points.
Yeah. So I look forward to hearing more from him. And then lastly for me, Luchasaurus. I really want to see more of that guy, because I just think that's an awesome gimmick that he has.
Oh yeah,
going.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to once they get the TV time going, so you can see these guys kind of like start seeing them as full characters and not just like. Yeah. But at least doing this, you're kind of like nickel and diming everybody out there. So when you do get to that, it's not like, who's that guy? Who's this guy? Who's that guy? So it's kind of a good approach that they're having regular shows like this until, I mean, I'm sure like this schedule will continue, but then when the fall comes around and they start, I think it's the fall when their show's supposed to start.
Yeah. Which I'm excited for.
So, speaking of excited for, Cody Rhodes, right? Or Cody with Brandy Rhodes. Cody Rhodes on account of trademarks. That's why they do that the way they do that. But it's funny when you hear it. It's like Cody with Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah.
Also known as I can't think of the name, but he played somebody on Arrow also. I don't know if you watched that show, but he was on there twice.
Cody was?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. He played some guy that was like making a drug, and then I think on the next episode, like the drug had mutated him or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For the next season. But yeah, it's Arrow overall is a worthwhile show in my opinion. I haven't seen anything since late last year, so I don't know what the show's doing now. But personally, I like it, and I think you might too, since it's a little more on like the darker side. We have that compared to Flash.
Yeah.
More with Arrow. So I think a lot of it's on Netflix, maybe all of it. Check it out sometime.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that a shot.
But so yeah, Cody versus Darby Allin. I've known a little bit about Darby because sometimes you just see their names and their faces together often up, and then like he's got that half face paint thing going on. And so I was like, oh, I know who that guy is. I didn't know what to expect from the match, but just about it from a background side, it's like, okay, if Cody wants to like have this match with this guy, he must see something in him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the stories, it's like this guy is like one of the main people of this company, and he's using his time with this person. He could have anybody in there, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, he could easily have him, in there with Jericho if he wanted, but it's a guy that me personally, I really had no idea what to expect for this guy. I was like, all right, let's see what he's got. But yeah, like you said, Cody could be out there with anybody, but he brought Darby in, working with him. So I'm like, all right, let's see what this guy has and see what he has to offer.
You're right. And it was ended up being really good. I mean, also went to the time limit, and I like how they played that. The whole he was counting, and she was counting because of the female referee, and she gets to the 3. It's like ding, 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 like as she's putting her hand down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna have him win it there, and then everybody starts they're yelling for overtime, and I'm like, is this going to be a thing, like an encore type thing?
Yeah.
But it didn't, and well, then other things had happened. But before I get into that, I also want to say Darby Allin, for me, gets like the spot of the night.
Oh, right. Is it with the coffin elbow?
The coffin drop?
Yeah.
Oh, man, dude. He did that and my back hurt.
I thought, because I didn't know what he was going to do. I saw him up there and I'm like, wait. Because just like the angling of like he's facing, I'm used to people like they jump off like, elbow maybe or or like just like the splash. But I'm like, what is happening here? And just like when he jumps back, because I mean, for one, just jumping back like that in general is probably like scary.
Yeah.
And then for 2, like knowing that what you're going to hit is like as hard as like a table. Like that's where like the
one that doesn't break.
Yeah, like that's where like the boards are. Like the hard part that everybody's always like banging on for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that looks painful. And like the replay you see is like his neck. I mean, obviously, like as safe as it could, he didn't like pull a sting and like have to like go down after that, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But man, like when he hit that, I was just like, oh, he might be dead now.
Yeah, I was like, that dude's career is over right there. I think I just watched somebody die. So I'm like, if that was supposed to be a trust fall, Cody Rhodes is an asshole. That dude will never do another trust fall.
But man, it was between that and just like his overall presence in the ring. I mean, and obviously we can only judge him off of this one match, right?
Yeah.
You can't fully judge him, but so I don't know much about his like technical ability. He seems to have a fair amount, but just the I don't know, the presentation, like the character and all that, the way he played his role in there. I'm like, okay, this is really good. He's playing that like a little bit crazy, not all the way there kind of guy, like not quite like Mankind, but like still like messed up a bit,
Yeah.
Because he wasn't like
not calling out the boiler room like a
right
freaked out society, but more of like dude, I don't like anybody. I've got issues. Stay away.
Yeah, just like the guy that just you see on the sidelines, just kind of like sitting there, just kind of like looking at people a little crazy, and like no one really talks to him.
He's that guy in hockey that when they need somebody for a 5-minute penalty for fighting and taking somebody out, that's the guy you send in. You're like, go get their forward.
See, that's why you're here. That's why.
I'll pull those other references from other sports all day. We'll figure out how to work cricket in one day. I need a Ninja Turtles themed fight to happen. Somebody pull out a cricket bat or Casey Jones.
Yeah.
But
Casey Jones. I was just talking about Ninja Turtles also.
Great show.
Overall, the match was good. It was really good. It's just like after the ending, like when Sean Spears, formerly known as Ty Dillinger, came out, that is where it took a weird turn.
Yeah.
For one, like I was a little surprised to see Ty Dillinger show up so quickly because I know he just finally got released from NXT and all that stuff, where he was so wasted. Like I would see his match, and think, this guy's really good. And he was also like the guy that Shawn Michaels super kicked in the hallway like many years ago. Like, see that?
Was it? Where he's like freaking out,
and then he's like super kicked some guy. And it's like, see that? Now I just super kicked him.
Yeah. I do. I remember that. I didn't know he was one of the guys that got taken out by a kick, but I remember that scene.
That was him. But so.
Sorry, dude, just thinking of that. It's just great.
And he comes up, I see him, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is cool that he's here. He gets to use his potential a little bit. And then, like, the chair shot, and I was like, that was an awkward chair shot. Like, it was just weird, just the way it happened.
And then execution on the shot itself, I got to give it a 10.
Oh, yeah, easily. I mean, as far as like how good it was of a thing to happen, terrible. It looked, it was as unforgiving as a chair shot as it was good a chair shot.
Yeah.
So anyway, but like
that's about the perfect way to sum that one up.
Right. But then like you see like the cut in the back of the head and like the blood. I mean, what'd you think when that happened?
Honestly, my first thought was like, holy shit, like, because I thought I know it's on your channel. How do you feel about like I'll try and keep it tame. So forgive me when I say those things. But AEW, I feel like it's a mature theme. Anyways, I feel like I'm stuttering. But anyways, so yeah, chair shot comes out. I'm like, holy shit, that just happened.
Yeah.
And I thought, those were off the table, across the board, all organizations, and then it happened. It's like, wow, okay, so they did that. And the fact that it's Ty Dillinger coming out there, one, surprised me. I knew his time was coming to an end with NXT and all that. I didn't expect to see him, but then he shows up, and so that was shocking. But I did not. I just wasn't expecting somebody to come in and just nail him in the head, especially because I'm sitting there thinking, encore, come on, give these guys 5 more minutes of wrestling. And then, nope, he turns around, clink, right in the head. I'm like, oh, okay, so that happened. The bleeding aspect of it, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me about it is that you clearly see the shot here, and then like there's no way that anything could have happened back there. Like if you're going to blade or whatever, do it to where it's going to look. It doesn't look dumb.
And that's the thing, because like I mean, everything I'm seeing, which is very little because I haven't had a lot of time to look into it, but they're making it seem like he truly got busted open though, like because he got like 12 stitches in the back of his head and stuff.
Okay, so it was an actual.
It's starting to look like the chair was like fake. It was like fixed in a way to like not be just like your standard like steel chair, or it was just like very thin steel. Whatever it wasn't the normal style chair.
Mm-hmm.
So he was supposed to take the shot, and then, I guess it was supposed to like crumble up, to look like it was very hard. Because to me, when I watched that, it doesn't look like he hit him all that hard, but it bent like he did.
Well, you remember back in the day with the trash cans and the lids of those. It kind of looked like it was one of those. Like you could tell it's not real, but it still gives the appearance.
Right, because
I feel like somebody could come up with those trash can lids and hit me in the head. I'd be like, all right, now I'm just pissed off. Like it probably wouldn't hurt. I'm just like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? But yeah, I see what you're talking about though.
So I'm curious to see what comes of that. I might have to do some looking into it later. I didn't want to look up a whole lot earlier because I didn't want to end up potentially spoiling other things about the match.
Yeah.
One of the things that I am wondering about is there's that whole build up to like Cody and Dustin versus the Young Bucks thing, and now I wonder is that still going to happen? Because I think it was like 2-ish weeks from that date than when the other match was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it takes to really let that stuff heal. But at the same time, it does also depend on what kind of match they plan to have,
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see about that. But overall, I am curious to see how things play out for is this Cody and Darby thing that's not over, but the Cody and Shawn Spears thing, that's obviously not over. So what's gonna happen from here is you get anybody's guess. But
because I could totally see Cody wanting to go back at Shawn, and then Darby just being like the psychotic guy that he is, just like, oh, I'm not done. I want back in there. You thought you're done? No, you can't just fight me and then forget about me. I could see that being a thing and possibly turn into a triple threat of some sorts.
I mean, they could go also the tag route, right? I mean, if Darby and Shawn Spears get together, but I don't know. It's early. We're gonna have to just wait it out until like the puzzle come out. We can speculate all day. Who knows? They might even just take it in a totally different direction,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a solid match though for what it was. Just like the ending kind of apparently caught some criticism because of the whole chair shot thing and like when you were saying like you thought that was outlawed from everybody. I mean, you're not alone in that. I thought that even if it wasn't outlawed, I was pretty sure that it was a thing people just weren't doing, even though they can, like in other places. So like, because I know.
Yeah, I guess that's more of what my thought was just people weren't doing it just because of the repercussions of doing those.
Right. And one thing like that I found out last year. I think it was last year. Yeah, last year because that's where because WrestleMania was in Louisiana, New Orleans. The New Orleans State Wrestling, or excuse me, Louisiana State Wrestling Commission, or not Wrestling Commission, but Sports Commission.
Look, someone actually popped in here with a comment.
I totally forgot that there was a link.
Oh man! So sorry we ended up missing that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's my mistake then.
No, totally mine too.
I need to see where that is though. Okay, yeah. Where's the chat then? They don't read chat. Let's leave with the dislike voice. All right. Hey,
All right.
I get you. I haven't had one in a while, so I was about to do. Well, that's the way I see it. But yeah, totally forgot to open that. But anyway,
Yeah.
so what was I saying though? Yeah, so one thing I learned when I went to New Orleans last year for that was that they also like just that city or that state has their own things going on as far as what they're allowed to do. So Will Osprey, like there were a lot of moves that he couldn't do because like they don't allow this, they don't allow that, whatever. So it's something I had never thought about, but it is what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how things go in the future. But moving on from that, though, 'cause I feel like we've covered everything we really can on it. So the main event, but not the final match, was the Elite, which was Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, versus the Lucha Brothers, which was Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix, and Laredo Kid. Your thoughts, please.
So first off, them coming out, I play video games. You play video games, and a lot of people were. I heard some people were saying like their entrance was stupid. Me personally, I loved it. I love the whole gimmick. Like I love Street Fighter. I play the games. I've got comics. All sorts of stuff. So that I loved it. And then I didn't know what they were going to do with Kenny because they came out with Ken Ryu, and I was like, all right, we'll see what Kenny's going to do. And then he comes in, he's like Akuma. I'm like, that's awesome. I enjoyed that. So I really enjoyed that. And as far as the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid, never really heard much about them going into this. But I think I'd heard that name Pentagon Jr. Once before, but once or twice, anyways. But I really enjoyed their match. I think it started off great. Then it just turned into pure chaos, and I didn't know who was legal, who wasn't. I'm just like, all right, I'm just along for the ride right now. And then they hit him with a Hadouken, and I was like, okay, it's stupid, but I get it. Like the environment they're in, I'm a gamer. I enjoyed that.
Right. Yeah,
that Hadouken was probably one of my favorite moments of the match,
like
outside of all the crazy things that they had already done.
Because when it happened, I didn't quite know, because I saw them, the other guys go bounce off the ropes to come back, and then I saw something like they were all down. I'm like, wait, what? And then I saw them all in like the stands, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, that was, because like it's things like that like people used to criticize like in a lot of the young bucks matches, or there was who else was it? There was somebody else that used to do like comedy style things like that in their match. I mean, not just Joey Ryan, but
yeah, I was going to bring Joey Ryan into. I'm like, some of the things that he does, like maybe I don't know. I just enjoy those things. I saw one that was like some Egyptian dudes. Yeah. And one of them like rolled backwards, and the other dude picked them up, and they started doing like the serpentine thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a snake, and it hypnotized them. Like stuff like that. Like if it fits a gimmick, go ahead, do it.
And it's not like it's throughout the night. It's just like because of what's happening in the ring right now, they do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what about you? Like, how'd you feel about the match?
So that one, it was pretty good. I liked it. There was a lot of action and everything in there. I didn't really know what all to expect, honestly, because I didn't know if it's going to be like, a lot of like the high flying the whole time, or if it was going to be more like brawl style with some stuff. Because I know there was tension between them. It wasn't. So sometimes when there's like that extra tension, like the match itself is just like a little different because they play up that side of it.
Yeah.
The whole beat down side. But
it's not, they take away from like the acrobatic show of it and make it a little bit more unforgiving.
Right.
And change up that style just to put the storytelling and emotion into the match.
Right. So they did that, but then there's also like the end part where like they kind of set up. Well, it looks like they're trying to set up for a rematch between Penta and Omega. So I'm curious to see how that goes if that happens, because I feel like that would be pretty good. And I gotta say though, like some of those V-trigger knee attacks that Kenny Omega was dishing out, those are like I don't know what you were saying, but like, it looked like it was full on contact.
Yeah, like
especially
I do remember seeing one of those happen, and I'm just like, I don't want to be that guy. Like I wanted to be a wrestler, and then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, if that was me taking that knee, I'd probably be a little pissed.
Yeah, it looked hard, like hard. But you know, that's the thing. Sometimes you see some of the guys that are a little more physical, and maybe it's not like every move or whatever. But then you know, you have, like some of those bigger guys, like the Samoa Joe big dudes, and they'll like trade those forearm shots, like the side of their face and neck or whatever.
Yeah.
And you'll see somebody hit one of those. You see like all the sweat just like fly off into the air or whatever. You see their head like throw back. You're like, Jesus, like, is that guy okay? Because I've been there like live, and I've heard like some of like the chest slapping or whatever.
Yeah.
And everybody hears that. It's like, wow, that was loud. And then you see like the red mark on the chest. You know, it's just a thing people do.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure a lot of those weren't intentional, but still, man.
Yeah, he took all of that a couple times. But yeah, like you said though, when the match started and they did like the Ken Ryu thing, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And they brought out the fake Kenny Omega at first. He was doing like the machine gun thing that he does, and then you know he puts his hand out, like the lights went out. He came back and it was like the demon version of Unleashed or whatever, like you know, as you saw based off of the Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this makes sense because he does that.
I'm pretty sure he's actually into like fighting games and like competitive gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah, he there was a whole episode of, I don't know if it was on Up Up Down Down or if it was on Being the Elite, but there's a whole episode where it was like the New Day versus them in Street Fighter, and it played out a lot like a wrestling match because it's like it started off as like maybe like Kofi Kingston versus like Nick Jackson or something, and then like he won, like Kofi won, like just demolished him, and then like Matt Jackson won, and I don't remember exactly how it played, and then like Kenny Omega and Xavier Woods, like they were like the best ones, and like this whole thing came out because of them. But man, like, if I can find out where that was, because it's on one of their shows, I'll definitely have to like send you that link, because I've never watched a gaming tournament like that until that, but
yeah,
I was invested in it as the people go.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to get more into that whole competitive side of things and go to like a tournament or two, but that's talk for another time. But the Young Bucks, I didn't really know a lot about them going in to this whole AEW thing, but the more I watched them, like some of the things those guys do, like they got that like that pile driver tag team move that they do.
The Meltzer driver?
Something like that. I forget what that's called, but like I saw them do that, and I'm like every time they do it, I'm just like, holy crap, dude, that was amazing.
Yeah, they've got some really good stuff. Like really, I mean, it's hard to believe they were wrestling that style like day in and day out for so long.
Yeah, like that's gotta do a number on your body.
Oh yeah, like in some of the episodes, they would kind of play to that and talk about like Matt. I think Matt is the one with like what do we call it? It's not like a beard, but either way, I think he's the one that was having like the back problems that they would talk about from time to time, which again, very understandable. So, but yeah, it was a good match. No complaints out of that. 20 minutes. It didn't seem like that long, honestly, until they said 10 minutes left out of the 30-minute time limit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure we haven't seen the last of that. But
yeah, hopefully not, because I really enjoyed it.
Right. So, and then that was the conclusion of the event in a sense, and then past that, it was on to the non-sanctioned match. And the last time I saw a non-sanctioned match was it Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa at NXT Takeover New Orleans.
Mm.
And so like the whole idea of that being like, all right, well, what happens within this match, like the company isn't going to like be liable for it. So it's not on the card officially. But we're gonna leave the lights on and the cameras rolling and the crowd gets to stay. Everything else is fine. We just don't count. So really,
we don't necessarily condone this, but whatever.
Yeah. The only thing I guess that gives it some amount of a difference on this particular show is because like they look at the wins and losses, but this is an unsanctioned match, so it won't count for anything.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's actually something that plays into it. Even though it doesn't play into it, it still kind of plays into
so it won't affect
how the promotion's going.
Yeah, so it won't affect Joey Janela's standing within the company or within the pecking order if you're Hulk Hogan. So, but that match though, I gotta say, like, I've seen what was his name, Dean Ambrose, a handful of times, and like live, I mean, and not once was I ever looking forward to the match, like not at all, not in the least bit, because nothing about him really interested me. But when I see him walk out as John Moxley, he's got like a different energy. He's got like a vibe that makes you want to pay attention to what's about to happen. Like it lets you know, like this dude is about to hurt somebody. Like something is going to go down in this ring.
Like beforehand, I'd be like, because I'm in the Cincinnati area. If I saw Dean walking down the street and like bumped into me, I'd be like, whatever, dude, F off.
Yeah.
But now it's like if he bumps into me, I'm like, how crazy are you, man? Like, you play it. Are you?
So I saw that, and I'm thinking, okay, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm thinking, like, this guy is about to do something bad. And then, like, the match gets going, and they kind of pulled out a lot of stops in that one. Like the thumbs, barbed wire boards. I was kind of surprised in a way to see something like that because it's been so long, like the other pay-per-view, like their hardcore matches, like, oh man, he might go through a table. It's like
he went through the table. He's got the fire extinguisher. Is he gonna spray it?
Yeah. So, oh man, he hit him across the back with the kendo stick. Okay, it's like all the standard things. So they were like going all out. They're like, yes, this is a hardcore match.
Yeah, when they said that, I was kind of like, okay, they might push the boundaries a little bit more, but I didn't expect too much. Like when I saw the chair shot, I was like, okay, I know to think that some things might be a little bit more hardcore than or more edgy than what you would see with like WWE now.
Right.
But then I was not expecting actual hardcore things to happen.
And like, did you happen to catch like at the end when I did the replay, like after Moxley hit the DDT on the thumbtacks, as he was sitting up and like he spit out thumbtacks from his mouth?
Yeah.
Like that, and like, and even when he did that, and like when they showed his back, like he had the tacks all in his back, or like Janela had them in the bottom of his feet, like
like that right there. I saw that, and I'm like, when he pulled them out and started taking off Joey's shoes.
Yeah,
I was like, no, dude, like I've seen some things, And that is not one of the things like I wouldn't want to put anybody through that because can you imagine that? Like, I don't like walking on Legos. All right.
Yeah.
And then you've got tacks. No.
Like I almost expected that he was just gonna like grab one or two and just like kind of put it into his foot, you know?
Yeah.
But he like did the kind of like the atomic drop, but like put him on his feet and then and even like when they had like the board and like the chair with the wire in it, and like one of them was trying to get off of it, and they're trying to move, but like they also don't want to because it's like stuck in their skin.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, oh man, like this thing was on fire and they got thrown through it. It was like stuff that like because of how it was very little what was happening, but like you could tell it was super painful because it was.
Yeah, because I mean I've been caught up with barbed wire before, and it's not fun. And to sit there and let somebody throw you into it, because the thing with barbed wire, once you start moving around, that stuff moves too. And if you're not careful with it, it'll just start getting wrapped around you. And it eventually started doing that on Moxley when he was getting out. So like you can see it was starting to wrap on him. I was like, oh, buddy, this hurting more than what you was thinking it was going to hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, like again, like you said, it wasn't a lot going on, but the things that were going on, you could tell it hurt.
Yeah, I was just like, man, this is, oh God, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Watching that whole thing from start to finish, but
and then Joey he got on that ladder and had that flying elbow drop that probably made Macho Man happy. Like Macho Man's probably looking down on that match like, I like that.
But it's still nice to see Moxley in his like, kind of doing what he does. And one of the things that came up in, I don't remember what year it was, but there was a time when he had a match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And one of the things that was mentioned was that he had some hardcore style ideas for the match, but they got shot down by, it might have been by Lesnar himself. I don't really remember. But now that I see this match, I wonder, like, what did he envision for that match?
Right. It's like, so I want you to take this barbed wire 2x4 and we'll come out with it. We'll swing at you. You block it. Grab it. I want you to hit me in the head with it. And he's like, no, how about I just suplex you 10 times on a stack of chairs? And he's like, well, all right, I guess that's what we got to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, that's a lot of how Lesnar's more recent matches have gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that one with, well, not the, was it? The ones with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan were really good, though. But we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just for what this was, it was a really good match. It was like for a hardcore match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it, in a lot of ways, it was like it did more for Joey Janela because like he's the one who took a lot of the stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
But Moxley was like he got the status of being like the guy who's like, I am going to hurt you. Check out this 20-minute like clip. So it kind of did something for both of them. And then the whole unsanctioned thing, it doesn't affect their standings within the show or within the company. So and now it's going to be apparently like Moxley versus Omega. Well, actually no, that had already been set up at some point.
Yeah, because Moxley came in the last pay-per-view and attacked Omega.
Yeah.
And then this time Omega came out and attacked Moxley.
Because I know they're having a match soon. I just don't remember if the match itself was set up after this pay-per-view or after the last pay-per-view. That I don't remember. But they are having a one-on-one, probably not a standard singles match. But we'll see what happens with that. Because Omega, feel like he can have a good match with any stipulation.
Oh, yeah.
And now Joey Janela will go back to just doing what he does because he's always been known as like, the new hardcore guy.
Yeah.
And he was compared to Moxley, he looked really short. I don't know.
I did not pay attention to that.
I don't know if he really is like that short, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe Moxley's just like tall. Well, no, because okay, according to if Wikipedia, I mean, if Google is to be believed, he's 5'8", which isn't tall by like your average wrestling standard. But
yeah, because I think that's shorter than me, and like most wrestlers, I think are at least 6 foot.
a lot of them, I mean, I think who was it? Like I'm drawing a blank here because I think like Shawn Michaels is like an even 6 foot, something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? And you see him with the Undertaker, and it's like, wow, this guy's towering over him. But then
Yeah.
you see some people like Brock Lesnar, who's not as tall as you might think he is compared to like Braun Strowman's of the world. But he's
Yeah.
still a big guy. You know what I mean? He's still got like size overall for sure.
Yeah.
But, I'm curious to see what they do with the promotion, and what I meant to come back to during like the tag match was like that they have said multiple times that they want to bring back quality tag team wrestling, and that's the thing that I like to see. You know, when they have like, I got nothing against like two people who just happen to like be put together and like become a good team. Like if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have had the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
But it's often nice also to just see the two tag teams. When you see like people who come out and it's like, hey, this is the Road Warriors. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
this is the Hart Foundation. Take it.
Yeah. Well, like one of the tag teams, like me personally, I hope to see when we were in the UK, like you brought up Osprey earlier.
Yeah.
I remember we got to see him there. But another group that I'd like to see would be the Hunter Brothers. I don't recall if you
the names
watching them. Yeah, they ended up fighting some like or wrestling some French dudes or something.
Who was it? La Resistance? Remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do remember that. La Resistance. But yeah, so I do definitely want to see more tag team. I just want better quality matches in general. Like a women's division, men's division, tag teams in both. And then have a variety of titles that actually kind of mean something, if that makes sense. Because like that 24/7 title, I don't know if you've seen anything with that. There's not a lot of meaning behind it. Ron Killings is like making that as enjoyable as it can be because that dude has always been entertaining.
Right. It's like, and it's like you just said, that's like the R-Truth title because it's there for like entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks because like sometimes when you put people into that, like there'd be a bit of a hole to dig yourself out of.
Yeah.
But the thing is, to me, you have like women's title, women's tag title. If you have enough of them, don't just do it just to do it.
Yeah, and enough good ones, not just like people that shouldn't be together and make it there just to be there.
Yeah. And then you have like your world title, like men's world title, and of course men's tag team title, and maybe another belt. But at the same time, I don't know, because it's like the Intercontinental title, I got no problem with that thing. Like when you start bringing in like European title and like the TV title, and then there was something else. They had a lot of belts for a while. They had the U.S. title. It's like,
yep.
U.S. title was essentially the lowest one.
Yeah, they had. Let's see if I can remember. At one point they had a hardcore title.
I need to turn something off. Sorry.
Don't burn your house down.
Okay, now the air conditioning thing is just turn that off.
Oh, okay.
And, wow, it's like I walk back in as I'm leaving on the actual YouTube feed. That's weird to me. But
now you know the delay that we got. But but yeah, like I remember they had the hardcore title, the light heavyweight title,
Right.
the European, the Intercontinental, the World title, tag team titles, women's title.
You say
Like,
TV?
well, I was like thinking like primarily like WWE.
Oh,
That way I was trying to keep them because I know WCW also had a
right.
ton. So I was just trying to name off like what.
Oh, I was just thinking like because I can't remember what stuff when they brought in the WCW titles. I can't remember what was still there of theirs at the same time.
Mhm.
There was some overlap between
Yeah,
some things.
yeah, because like when they did that, there ended up being the WCW tag team titles, I think, and then the WWE because the Dudleys and the Hardys had that whole match at Survivor Series as like tag team champions versus tag team champions. Whoever left with the belt got to keep their job or whatever. Yeah,
It's always something like that.
yeah.
But
But again, like I have no problem with titles, but just make the titles mean something. So
because like really like you can because the titles don't get the person over necessarily, right?
all right.
It can put a
We've
little
seen that time and time again.
but it's just like if they just stick with like the tag title, the women's title, and the men's title, I think they'd be fine, honestly. Because how much more do you really need? Like if you have, let's say you have like MJF, going against Luchasaurus, and it's like been like a pretty hyped up match. Like people are gonna watch it because it's good. Like when I watched this pay-per-view, even though I didn't know everybody, but
Yeah.
one of the things that made me okay with it was like, for one, knowing from their track record that the matches are going to be worth watching, and two, because there's not like the other pay-per-views where it's like the same crap every month. It's new stuff, right? So you didn't just see like half of these matches on Raw the previous week,
Mm-hmm.
and the other half on the last pay-per-view. It's
Yeah.
not Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins round 29. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and nobody wanted to see round one of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You watch this and it's like, oh, this looks like it could be good. Like this four
Yeah.
match. Oh, this triple threat. Okay, that's.
Now I can take a mid card, an extra mid card title, and it will just kind of add some variety. If you got like, so if you got one, if you want to have like a championship fight, it's like a men's cage match or something, and then earlier in the night you want to have like another like at that half point mark, like okay, what can we do here? We want a special type of match, like, and if you got another title, it sets it up for like things like a ladder match or something.
Right.
So like that can come into play, but again, like you're saying, if the title doesn't get somebody over, I think the wrestler themselves gets themselves over.
Right.
Like if you look at like Adam Page and whatnot, because
Yeah.
because
the thing is, if you can flip through the channels and you stop on whatever match, and maybe you watch like 10 minutes of it, and you're like, wow, this guy's really good. Like in the middle of it, you won't always know if it's a title match. You'll just know that it's good or it's bad.
Yeah.
And from that, you become a fan because like you're like, I like this guy or I don't like this guy. I mean, like, also being indifferent where he just doesn't stand out at all, like Blue Pants. But, if it's like Adam Page, you watch a few minutes, you're like, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a poster and put it on my wall. Not
right.
CM Punk, but if I was doing this in the living room, right about here, Adam Page.
Yeah. So out of I know I called my spot of the night was that death drop, and like another thing I'd like to do with this is try and like break down some of like our favorite moments of the night. So I know I said it was the coffin drop for me would be spot of the night. What about you? Do you have a certain spot?
There was something pretty awesome, and I can't think of what it was, but because I was gonna go back and get a clip of it from the Private Party did, which again I totally suggest that match.
Yeah.
For stuff that I can remember, I'm gonna have to give it to the stalling cannonball, even though he didn't execute it perfectly because his foot hit like the metal part of the ring.
Yeah.
He still pulled off the rotation though.
Yeah.
So I think had he done it flawlessly, it would have been even better. But just the fact of like the move for what it is, I'm gonna give it to that.
Yeah, I felt like that had to have hurt his foot though. Like I remember when it happened, I saw that hit. I'm like, oh man, that had to hurt. But
yeah,
that was actually going to be my spot of the night up until I saw that drop, man. Like,
yeah.
So what about match of the night?
Match of the night. I need to go back to the list so I can see real quick. In a lot of ways, I might just have to give it to that triple threat match, the tag team match with Best Friends, SCU, and Private Party, because it kind of, for one, to put Private Party on the map, it had SCU in it, and Best Friends aren't bad at all.
Yeah,
it was just like solid, like from the start to the finish. Yeah, it's just looking at it. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. So and we can talk about it, do a little one-on-one chat, like whenever you get around to it. If like your work time gives you some free time or whatever, definitely check it out and like get back to me because I am curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But and then we'll also have to start working on just how we want to structure this. So if you want to, I mean, I don't mind like just free talking and all that, but just to make sure we hit everything that we want to bring up.
Yeah.
Like as far as like a structure to it, so we don't be like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention like our favorite match and like most disliked match, kind of like basically the normal questions that would pop up in like shoot things, like what's your favorite one? What was your heart?
That's kind of what I was thinking about, kind of like doing with this. Like we could go through the matches themselves, talk about those, and then we can do like those more of those shoot type questions.
You're right. You know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. But I'm gonna stop the recording because I feel like we've covered everything. But then we'll talk about that for a minute.
All right. Yeah, that works.
Yes. So I guess thank you to the one person that watched and didn't like it. I appreciate that.
Well, no, we had two. We had one guy that came in, removed his message, and then we had another guy that said they don't read chat. Let's leave. But maybe deep down they really liked it, and they're just trying to make a statement.
But the thing is, somebody showed up, and honestly, I didn't expect that because time-wise.
Yeah.
Curious where these people came from, honestly.
Yeah, somebody's either up late at night or getting off work, or
I don't know. It could be from around here, maybe time zone. Well, either way, thank you to the people that did not like this. Possible. So
your voice was heard.
All right, time to stop.
All right,
stick around. I'm gonna keep talking to you.
Will do.